Atholl Anderson. It is an excellent work, a collection, and it's definitely a town. So I'm glad for the future of Aotearoa that this work does exist. I got to London. This is a Māori boy brought up in Hawke's Bay who went to a New Zealand school, who knew all about Sir Francis Drake, who knew all about Sir Walter Raleigh, all of Kings and Queens, Westminster Abbey, in the streets on Monopoly. I knew all about, and it just struck me after being there for 2 days, I know this place. Damn, this is the other side of the world, and I know this place. Why do not New Zealanders know who Te Whatuiaupiti is? Kikiri o Te Rangi, who conquered half of the North Island. Others who lived like kings and queens in their time. Great warriors who also had their battles at sea and land. Why do they not know this? Our history didn't start with Captain James Cook. Our history started before, and that's why this is so important.
That's reading.
Well, it's more than that. It's sort of like a launching pad, you know, for other people interested and researchers to take off from different chapters and stuff.
In more than 200 years of publishing about Māori, Tangata Whenua is the only detailed synthesis of Māori history in its entirety. Our explicit intention was to produce a Māori history for all New Zealanders in a book that spanned Māori history as a whole.
Sadly, as Atholl said, Judith is no longer with us, and she has been sorely missed as we finish the project. We hope she'll be pleased with our final product. And when you read the book, one of the main themes that I hope is highlighted for you is really the strength and resilience of Māori communities, not just now in the 21st century, but actually over time, even when times were tough. So when you open this book, I hope the Māori past opens to you too.
Good to see you.
Patricia.
Patricia.
Kia ora.
Lovely to meet you.
Yes, good to meet you too.
When preparing this very small contribution, I got to think about how in the time of now, our present time, we speak to each other across time. Our tupuna speak to us, we speak to our descendants, and we do this in a variety of ways. In dwelling on this, it can seem as though everything, all time, is a now time, a present time. So my me is as follows. The centre is the now place, which each of us occupies for a time. From the centre, one reaches in any direction to the outer circles from where understanding and inspiration are drawn. There is no great distance in the reaching because we are our own tupuna. Also, we share the dust of stars. Reaching out and drawing in, one comes to know oneself, becoming whole and human.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
That's wonderful.
Got my team here behind me. Hi, my cousin. Great to see you, Roseanne.
And finally, I would like to acknowledge a group who are often in our minds as we discuss images, text, layouts and cover on so many occasions. Our future readers, and particularly the children, who we hope will grow up enriched by knowing the history of the people who arrived in these islands some hundreds of years ago.
You're the newly redeemed.
Reinventing myself.
I know. I've had some small hand on it. It is a joy to be able to be associated with a project like Tangata Whenua, which brings our understanding of ourselves to this date. I only dream that we'll be our young and new writers and new historians will continue to refine and redevelop these notions. Tēnā koutou e raurakatera mā whānau ka hara mai te toki. Homi e, hui e, tai ki e. Kia ora. Kia ora rangi. We're getting in the stage of the process of reviewing the New Zealand Constitution, how neither Māori nor Pākehā knew very much about our own constitutional arrangements or our own history of how we'd come to be where we are and indeed who we are. But we are evolving and changing, and that's what's so important about this project, is that contribution to that enhanced understanding of what goes to make New Zealand tick. Yep. I think one of the great challenges facing us is a really decent study of Pākehātanga. Yep. What makes the character of Pākehā, and it's not just non-Māori. Yeah. Because in my view, Pākehā have now been here, they don't belong anywhere else now. They're indigenous to this place. They're acclimatised, they're here, and the great challenge for biculturalism is that Pākehā are better able to articulate what being Pākehā is in this place rather than Māori. Māori have got themselves pretty reasonably sorted in my view.
We had a book called Our Nation's Story. Yep. And it talked about Captain Cook finding New Zealand, discovering New Zealand. And of course in later years I realised New Zealand was never lost. Yeah. It had already been found by us. And then there's another picture in that book, a picture of Edward Gibbon Wakefield, a very florid looking Pākehā face, and the caption under was the father of New Zealand. And I looked at this, he ain't my father. So that's the comment that Peter made on stage tonight. He was taught that same history. We knew all about the Stuarts, the Kings of England, the royalty, but we weren't taught anything about our own culture. And this book will close our gap in our knowledge.
Well, I think it partly fills the gap because it's the whole history. It's you know, we've had parts of the history, but actually seeing it in one is really that's illuminating to me.
Yes, some of it is lesser known widely. I mean, it's known, of course, to academic community, but yeah, a lot of it hasn't yet really appeared in a popular form, and this is the first time that much of it will be seen by many people, read by many people. Yeah, it's there for people to pick out topics for more research and so on. Yeah.
This is probably not the history that they're expecting it to be. So if you think you know quite a bit about Māori history already, there may still be new things to learn.
Yeah. Where does she live?
And not framed by grievance and resistance, I think, is an important part. Well, we knew that it was going to be a broad history, so in that sense it was going to be generalised, but we also wanted to make sure that we stopped off at local places and inside communities and inside daily lives. We wanted to have that pushing through all the way through the book, even though we were going to deal with sort of large political narratives, the Treaty, New Zealand wars, modern protests. We knew we were going to deal with those, but we wanted to remind the reader of all these other daily lives that are going on. People have quite mundane, everyday things to do, and they also have these large political goals that they want to achieve. A few whānau here tonight, I don't even think I've got around to them all yet, but... you
must be proud.
I hope so.